All right, show and tell. Who wants to go first?
Go first.
Mike, you got.
I brought two models. My almost finished skipjack. The only thing that's missing is the galley stack. I didn't like the one that came with the kit. Searched Model Expo and Siren, couldn't find the galley stack, so I'm gonna have to carve one myself. Lots of little changes from the kit, things I've learned here, things I've learned from a book somebody donated, Modeling Simplified, whoever donated that, great book. It's a giveaway. Things like the rudder is operating, it was supposed to just be glued on. And I didn't go overboard with changes, changed some blocks, changed a little bit of the rigging, chains in the front instead of rope, because the pictures I saw of real skipjacks had chain. The second one is going on 50 years old. It is the first model I built, and it is not perfectly symmetrical. It's from my mind. It's plank on frame. It was my prep to do the 6-foot model of the Constitution I dreamed of making that I haven't made yet. Sat on this little top stand for many years. Been through effectively 2 hurricanes, one in Miami and one when I left it on the roof of the car during a move. Didn't get very far down the street before it fell under the trunk and I realized it, but that's why the main mast is attached, top mast is attached different than the foremast, because the main top snapped when it hit the trunk. So, and then the base, when we went up to Battleship, New Jersey 2 years ago, and I saw how people had put in grooves in the base. Don't look at it without the cover on it, because it's a crappy job of grooving it. But so that the case sits into the grooves, and now I can carry it around and move it without the case shifting it into it. So that was just some nice learning from that trip to the Battleship show.
Did you make your cover?
I bought it. I ordered it somewhere, but it was 30, 40 years ago. So I don't know. In fact, I want to get a cover for this one. I don't know how I'm going to do that. If I may try glue it together myself. You got an idea?
I got places I use in Norfolk.
Perfect. I'll catch up with you later. So my next model, I've got the choice of the Albatross, model Shipway's longboat, or both of those came from 2 auctions ago, or the cross section of the Constitution. I'm leaning towards the longboat as being the easiest. So
The 148 or the 124 scale?
I don't know. The box is about yay big.
148. I mean, yeah, the 148.
So anybody has any recommendations of which of those 3 is the easiest? Or if it's a no, the longboat is really tough, then let me know and I'll do one. I'll probably do the Constitution cross section if I don't do the longboat next. Thank you.
Okay. Let's go next.
Cool, man.
Next. Whose model is this? Oh, Stewart.
Shoe, yeah.
Let me get here.
Want me to move those off the table?
Oh, no.
Okay, you got it? Yeah. That is my model of the, that's my model of a Greenland trawler converted to whaler. I first saw this boat back about 10 years ago when I was on a cruise that stopped in Greenland. And I wandered around in a shipyard there. I saw that boat sitting there, took some pictures of it. And 10 years later, I decided, what the heck, I bet I could build that. And that's basically all I had to go on. The hull was built from a kit. The kit was a Billings boat. And I built it up to the rail, just from the kit parts. From there on, everything is scratch built. The deck, house, everything. And it's all built from pictures that I found of it. This was in the summer of 2014, I think. And just on the chance that it might be there, I looked on Google Maps to see if they had a picture of it. And sure enough, they had been there within 2 months of when I was there. And their little car had driven around and taken pictures from a lot of different angles. So I printed them. I got that many more pictures. It's actually only the same picture. It's about 6 different pictures that I took, blew them up, and got to see some of the details that way. And then I decided to, for a mounting, I would mount it on a replica of the railroad and the cradle that it was sitting on. So I went out and found some materials for that. I wound up spending more money and more time building that stupid thing than I did on the model itself.
Yeah, this thing has actually got wheels on it.
Oh, yeah. It's got wheels. This is actually O-gauge track that it's sitting on here. So it's fairly authentic, and it's got all the cross ties in there. And
Beautiful,
Very
beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
oh, it's unique. I decided I wasn't going to build another kit that another 500 people had already built. So nobody's built this one. Unfortunately, the boat doesn't have a name.
A number.
Got a number, but it doesn't have a name. I was hoping I could put a name on it because it was from the little port of Quackatuck in Greenland. Nobody's ever heard or ever will hear of Quackatuck.
Let's see it.
By any chance, does it have a harbor master? You could ask the harbor master.
It probably does, yeah. I could also look up the registration number. Unfortunately, you have to go to Copenhagen to get that because Greenland is actually a Danish possession, and this is a Danish number.
Beautiful model.
Thank you. The other thing that turned out to be hard, last time I brought it in 6 months ago, I had not done the foremast. I had just a stick standing up there all by itself. And I had to finish that with a crow's nest and all of this rigging. And all this rigging, well, for the boom, I've got one line made of string holding up that boom. All the other rigging here is either copper rod or steel wire or plastic. There's no more string on it. And I had to sort out each little piece, try to figure out how in the world it fit together. I may have made a mistake or two, but it challenge anybody to find it.
Who would ever know?
Yeah.
It looks good.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
So,
It was a Billings boat. How did you find the Billings boat?
oh,
Well made.
it was just a coincidence. I decided I wanted to build something besides a sailing vessel, and I thought, well, fishing boat, tug, trawler, something like that. And I building a model expo, put some stuff on sale, and I thought, here's a trawler, looks nice, I'll try it. When I got it, the kit, and started studying the plans, I realized, this looks like that thing I saw up in Greenland.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'll build the hull up, and when I get to this point, I'll stop and see if which way I want to go on it. As soon as I got the hull built, I realized, this really is the same boat. So it took a year, but it was fun. Building scratch built without any plans.
Looks good.
Very talented.
Very nice.
Stu, that'll fit in the showcase. That'll fit in the showcase. And really spot for it. Very good.
Yeah, it would. It's colorful too.
Okay. Who wants to go next? You want to put it up here?
All right, so this is my current progress on Winchelsea, converting her to HMS Pearl, a sister ship that was built just before Winchelsea. So right now I'm working on the planking. I got the first belt on both the port and starboard side complete. I've got 3 more belts to do to finish up all the planking. And then I will likely tree nail the whole thing. It'll take a while to do, but that's where I'm at today.
That is a huge hole.
It is.
I mean,
It takes up a good chunk of my workspace.
yeah, it
It literally dominates my workspace.
nice joinery. It's
I'm looking at all the lines used.
So that's all maple that I milled myself. It came as rough planks from John from a project for a cutting board that never happened from his mom. And I cut them up and sanded them down to the thickness and widths that I needed. Just about have like 5 or 6 sticks left of that project. So enough to do the interior, I believe. When I'm done.
This will be the outer skin, you're not gonna double.
I'm not,
Oh.
no, that is it.
single plank.
Yeah, single plank is enough.
Yeah, well, you got that, side, set that right.
But see that you can see what happens when you land the hull off like he did. I mean, if you look here, it is everything is uniform and
Look at it from dead on.
you know where you're going when you're planking, where each plank is going to end and the width, and it takes time, but it pays off big time at the.
Not careful, Mike's mom.
Anything worth doing is worth doing right.
Yes. And I will say that I have removed planks a number of times because I didn't like how they laid in.
And you're darkening one side,
I'm darkening all around.
oh, both sides.
Yeah, all four sides get HB pencil rubbed on it. And I use vinegar when I have to remove the planks. Works really, really well.
Vinegar?
Yep. Read it online in an article, and it's amazing how well
Is
it eats the
PVA?
glue.
PVA is what you're putting it down with,
Yes. Yep.
not CA.
Nope. No, I'm not seeing it. I'm actually using Type Bond glue to. I think I'm using the number 3 glue to glue it down. So no, there's no super glue on this.
Really? PVA, what is that?
It's a form of wood glue.
It's yellow glue.
Yeah.
Athletic resin.
Yeah, it's slightly different than your traditional yellow glue.
But about the best you can use. CA is dangerous.
Agreed. I didn't want to use the CA because I'm just thinking, get a little bit of a clog, and next thing you know, you have CA glue all over the place. So, speaking from experience, so I do the PVA. In fact, I'm gonna do a tech talk. I'll sign up for the May one. On what I did, it'll be done by then, so I'll have to figure out how to make it work for a talk. But it's actually
right now.
Famous last words will be done by now.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. I mean, the first belt on both sides took a month to do. So I'll be done the last 3 belts by then.
What are the X's?
The X's are the butt joints.
Oh, the butt. Okay.
So, by rules, every 4th row is a butt. So, and then 5 feet of scaled feet between the butts on a single line. So that's the X's just mark out so that I know as I'm running through it where I'm going to place each butt joint.
Chuck Passaro would be proud of you.
Thank you. I watched his video 4 times before I did this. This is only my second attempt. My first attempt is hidden behind lots of copper plating on Siren. But this is, I used his video. Like I said, I watched it many times before I actually attempted it. And if you watch his video, it's very well written and produced, and it flows very well. But I do some things slightly different than he did. Partly, like I said, I use PVA glue and not super glue. He does super glue on his hull. I'd just be way too worried about that and hull contraction.
What clamps are you using to hold down the planks?
So I do actually do clamps. He doesn't. With CA glue, you don't have to, but because I'm using PVA and it takes several hours for it to set up, I do use clamps. I use a variety of different clamps. I really use bull clip paper clips. That works amazingly well. And then got some here in the last auction. I use small spring clips to keep it so that each plank is set even with the other plank that I'm gluing up against. And then I do have dressmaker pins with a collet on it that I'll use for really, really, really tight areas and up around the bow where I can't get a full clip on. I'll use that. And then lastly, I have these really long finger type ones. Woolcraft made them way back in the day. And I'll use those for really long reach type stuff if I have to.
Now you've embedded a nut in your.
I do. I have a capture nut in the bulkhead eventually for when I mount it. So I planned ahead on how I'm going to mount it. And so I have a way of mounting it when the time comes.
So many people finish their models, then figure how they're going to do it.
I learned that lesson a really, really long time ago.
Yeah, this one has 3.
Yeah, I figured the weight because I'm going to mast it. At least that's the plan. So I figured the weight, I'm going to need the extra securing.
Send me a title for your make program when you get a chance.
Planking a hull.
Making a hull.
Or no. Yeah.
Okay. Very nice.
Thank you. So I'm going to start the process of making lots and lots and lots of tree nails so that once I am done the hull, I will tree nail it too.
Wow. Actual tree nails.
Yeah. Yep.
Beautiful.
Well done.
Very good. Very good.
Okay, who is next?
That's good.
You guys remember the days when Sean said he hated following Gene? I really hate following Sean. All right. There you go. How's that for a stand?
as long as it goes back.
Yeah.
Now, what Sean didn't talk about is I took mine off of the positioning tool to bring it in. And it's just a plate that I machined that screws on a positioning tool that has a ball in it, allows you to position the model anyway it's convenient for the work you're doing. He's got one.
Larry Friedlander.
Cheevers special.
And it's really the only way to go. Because if your model's in one position and you work on it, that's fine. But a lot of times, if you can get the surface rotated up towards sort of horizontal or flat and convenient, it's a lot easier to work on various parts of the model. So, but anyway, he's did it, and I just brought the lower part. This is a model I brought in more than once, is current progress. This is the lighthouse tender Beech. And it was a single one, there's no sister ships. So it was the only one. For those of you that haven't heard the story before, next to that big shipyard down the street, there used to be a little shipyard down at the point of Newport News, down at the point of the small boat harbor. It's called the Southern Shipyard Corporation. It was around for about 10 years. And in that 10 years, they built one steel hull boat, and that was this one. And for the lighthouse service. And current progress. But what I want to talk about is a couple of things. One, the mounting thing. But I was taught that when you build a model, you need to build a model so that you can take it apart. Okay, so everything comes apart. And when a model is finished, all this stuff should rest or be mechanically fastened such that down the road, if it needs to be repaired, as Ron is doing a lot of repair work on models and refurbishments, they can be taken apart, and that makes those jobs easier. If everything is fixed, it's just fixed in place, it's very hard to do. Now that's the first part. You can take the engine casing off, the skylight comes off, and then the deck will come off, and then the deck house can come off. So getting down to what I really wanted to talk about. When John Wild gets up to speak, what's the first thing John Wild says? I'm John Wild. I'm a ship model maker, right? Like this is the AAA of the A of ship modeling. Well, I have to confess now that I'm a bit of a hypocrite, and I'm getting in some heretical areas of ship modeling, things that I always talked about the purism of a model and the materials you use, and following the guidance for ship modeling that the Navy has put out so that the models have longevity and that sort of thing. Well, I was caught several months or 2 months ago by Mr. Warren over there putting super glue on a model. I don't do, but I had a crack in a bilge keel, and the only thing I could think of that I could put on there to stiffen it up and fix it was just put a line of super glue down through there. So I did that. Well, he caught me. So, and he has video. The second thing is
Hiding the evidence.
I'm at the part of this model right now where I'm sort of finishing the texture on the bulkheads of the deck house. And one thing that I needed was not just to drill the ports out, but I like to use the brass portholes that you could buy or could buy once upon a time. Nowadays, they're very expensive, and the good ones are really, really hard to find if you can find them. And they're made. There's a flange on the outside that fits in sets it into the bulkhead, and then there's a flange on the inside that will hold the lens or the pane, window pane. Well, this model had a size that's an odd size to me, and I had one. So I measured it, and I got the brass out, and I was all set to sit there and do the several steps to make the 20 or whatever I need for this model. And once again, Warren comes along and says, why don't you 3D print them? And I said, well, I don't have means, and I don't want to deal with these model monkey folks and whatnot, even though it can be done. And he says, I got a guy. Oh, okay. So I was thinking he was talking about John Wilde, but he wasn't. But anyway, I took the measurements to make one of these that I had written down for my machining operation, gave it to him. He comes back very shortly with a bag full of these things. And they are absolutely identical to that brass one that I measured. And like when John Wilde talks about how you make these things, when you print them, they're printed up from the base. So there's a little bit of goop at the bottom, and then there's some legs, and then they finally get around to printing the actual port on there. And when he prints, he needs to fill up the field that he's working in for the way the machine works. And so I told him I needed 20, and I put 40. So I've got enough for another model.
No problem.
So here I am crossing the line, getting over into some of this forbidden area, but I will have 3D printed ports on this model.
Welcome to the dark side.
And that's the dark side. And I wanted to actually, I should have mentioned this first, but if you don't 3D print things, because I was also talking to him about the cleats that I need. I couldn't find cleats in any of the suppliers that I liked. You either got a size problem or a shape problem or something. Or if you've bought some fittings from some of the companies lately, you've actually got a quality problem. They come in and a lot of them need some serious rework in order to be used. So there's two ways I could have gone. I could have made a master and cast them myself out of pewter, which I've done. But then I make one mold, I got to cast them one at a time. You cast about 3, you've got to come back the next day because you got to let the mold cool down. Because the mold will expand and then you get bad castings. So what I thought I would try was a method that sort of mimics the way you see some of the model makers make blocks and whatnot. And so I took a piece of this piece of holly, and the first thing I did, I don't know if you can see this or not, was I drilled a series of holes at specific locations. Then I ran it through, partially down to here, through the table saw to cut it into a T shape. Then cut it into a T shape. I can get that, you can see that.
Up against your blue. Raise it up against your blue, sure.
This blue?
Yeah, when you're holding
This
it.
blue down here. How's that? A T shape.
Yeah, I think you get the idea.
Then I took a small chisel and cut the radius into it. And now I've got more marks on there. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the side. I've got more marks while I will come back and go through the table saw again to cut more wood away. Then I'll part them in individual and then finish them by hand. At the end of the day, hopefully I've got 6 cleats that look reasonably close enough that I can maybe pair them up if they have some differences on the model. So 4 of them go up forward, and then 2 of them go way back here at the stern. That's my progress.
May I ask a question?
It's Joe.
It's Joe online.
Yeah, go ahead.
Drilled holes form the underside of the cleat. Is that what that's about?
Yeah, they established the underside of the cleat, and then I don't know if you can see it or not, but then I
Put
cut
your hand behind it, John, when you're holding it up. Yeah.
like that,
Yeah, you can see it.
and then you can see where I made some saw cuts
Yep,
that established the length of the base.
got
So
it.
the base is essentially formed now. I just need to form the part where the rope goes.
The horn.
The horn, okay. I just have to finish the horns on these guys.
Nice idea.
It's not original. I won't take credit for it, but I followed I think I saw some illustrations in one of Harold Hahn's book of how he made blocks. And he went through a series of steps like this and eventually parted them out. And I think then he put them into a tumbler, a sandpaper tumbler, to help finish rounding them up. But
I've seen Chuck Pissarro do blocks that way.
It's sort of the idea that you don't want to start with one little piece and try to work on it. You'll drive yourself nuts. First of all, you've got to have some material to hold on to. And then you just take away what you don't need in the best manner and work down to the final steps, which will be to round up the horns. And we'll find out when they go on the model how well I did. Is there any other questions? Anything else? That's my show and tell.
Oh, very nice. Anybody else have any show and tell here in the room? How about online?
Oh, right here.
Oh, I forgot about you, John. Yeah.
Good morning. I'm John Jones. I'm a retired tin can driver for 20 and then retired middle school special ed teacher for 25 more. Now I'm just tired. This is my first model. This is my learning curve, if you will. And first of all, I want to thank everybody for all your help. I ask a lot of dumb questions and I go home and I've had to rebuild so many parts of this thing. It's unbelievable. But this has truly been a journey worth making. This is the Charles W. Morgan, at least my version of it. And I'm learning a lot from it. I did the hull in copper here, trying to get started. And I used tape, 1/4-inch copper tape. And each one of these planks is 11/16 inch long. And I used a tracing wheel to simulate the nails that goes along on it. The problem that I have is that when I put it on, I used the glue, the adhesive that was on the back of this tape. And where I'm beginning to have is I'm starting to see some of the edges start to lift off. So I think what I'm going to try to do, and I've got one gentleman here I'm going to be talking to pretty soon to talk about how he works with it, but try to spray it with some kind of acrylic coating to try to help seal that down to keep it from peeling off. And I'll let you know how that works.
Arlen, can you get a close up of those nail marks? They're real good. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That took me about 2 weeks to do it. And what I did was I had one of those choppers that you can get from Micromark or a lot of other places and cut them off. Each one of these plates is 1/4 inch by 11/16 inch. And I used a scalpel and tweezers to lay it down. I use rubber gloves and everything to try to keep from staining. The other part is that after putting that much effort into trying to make that hull look nice, I kind of want to preserve it instead of trying to let it, get the verdigris and so forth to get the patina going on it. But it's really been kind of a fun thing for me. And I just want to say one thing. Building these models gives me a sense, and having spent 20 years at sea and a couple of hurricanes and typhoons, building these models is how these guys lived on the Constitution on this. Imagine going through 55 to 60 foot seas like I've done on Josephus Daniels and a couple others out there on. I can't imagine there being absolutely no weather protection whatsoever. Constitution does not have a wheelhouse on it or a storm or anything. Trying to make a living out there and spending years at sea in those kind of conditions is beyond me. I mean, Josephus Daniels is a cruiser, got a missile cruiser. I was the missile systems officer on her. And I was driving when we hit this thing right off North Carolina. We had 55 to 60 foot seas, and we were going 53 degrees from the vertical over and slamming back and forth. Can you imagine riding one of these ships in seas like that? No protection.
Yeah.
And that's what brings to me the sense of pride of what these guys have accomplished. And so to me, it's a very personal journey. I'm looking at my next one, hopefully will be Siren, courtesy of this young man standing right over here, and Constitution. So this is my learning curve, first one, to see how it works. And there's been a lot of redos and everything. So bear with me when I ask questions about how it is or what is that and how did you get there from here? So the real expertise to me that is bringing new people in and watching you guys and listening from you to see how I'm supposed to do it, what it's supposed to look like. So, and this is the planking. And one of the things that I found, so when you go to do the planking thing, is that what I did was I went in, I primed each piece of wood, then I stained it and then put on a finish coat on top of each one, and then I started putting them together. What I learned from doing that was that some of the glue that I was trying, because I tried it on various pieces of wood to see what it was going to look like and what would happen if I did this and this and this. And what I found was that if I got any glue anywhere on any of this wood, it really stained it and it looked speckled. It just looked like a Dickens. So trying to stain it, finish it before I ever put it on there, that seems to have held. I also did some underneath here, the main deck. I put in a piece of wood fillers on it so that it had more for the planks to grip onto. And it seems like I'm not worried now about any of the planks coming up at any time because it's in there pretty solid. So I guess that's all I have. Anybody have any questions or anything?
Looks nice.
Is that from a kit?
Yes, sir. This is the Model Expo kit of the Charles W. Morgan.
Looks good.
Thank you.
Very nice.
And having seen and been on the Charles Morgan, this looks very authentic, the color of the planks.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, anybody else in the room have anything for show and tell? Okay, anybody online have anything for show and tell? Okay, Mort, let me get on the spotlight right here. You're muted, Mort.
I'm just starting the Arm Virginia sloop, and I'm scraping off the laser char. That's where I'm at. But I just wanted to say I bought the kit in 2005, and I was looking back then on Model Ship World for other people who had built the kit, and I made some notes of the kits I liked. So that of the builder's kits that I like, so I could go back and look at them when I finally get to build mine. And it's funny because I have a note here that says, Ryland's AVS, it's great. Use it as a guide. That should be your main guide. So I just wanted to throw that out. I appreciate it. See, Ryland, I appreciated you even back then in 2005. So thank you very much.
Let me ask you, do you have Bob Hunt's Pracum?
Say again?
You have Bob Hunt's Pracum?
No, I don't. I used it for the rattlesnake, and I thought it was great, but I don't have it.
I will send you my copies already printed of what the steps I've already done on. I haven't finished mine yet.
The pictures are beautiful. You did a great job. You really did.
I will mail you the sheets.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mort. Anybody else? Okay, well, that concludes the show and tell. And I think we'll take a real quick break here. Let's try to, 3 or 4 minutes so we can get into the presentation. All right, guys, we'll be back in just a minute.